Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart. Happy Holy Thursday, new month. It's April. Let's begin by renewing our hearts and refreshing our minds, taking together a nice deep breath, exhaling into our hearts. Here's my heart. Here's my heart, Lord. Feel your heartbeat. When you press one hand against the other and push in against your heart, you become very aware of the physical presence of your heart. Then there's the energetic presence of your heart, that which extends out to others, extending out love, compassion, kindness, the willingness to be of service, the willingness to be a blessing. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart. Tell me where to go. Tell me what to do. Tell me what to say and to whom, as I pray harder, rise higher, forgive steadily, and love readily. Together, we recommit on a new day, a new month, to this very sacred path, to this very sacred journey, to this opportunity to be joined in love and consciousness of a higher holy way of being. So let's take another nice deep breath in and exhale into this moment, into this moment. You know, every time a new month begins, it's an opportunity to reevaluate where we are, how we are, who we are. You know, it's not just once a year. It's not just at the end of the year when you do a bowl burning and you start the new year saying, this is what I'm going to do and this is how I'm going to be. It's about continuously being in a state of awareness, of self-awareness. So in the course of the month, it's, where have I gone? What have I done? Who am I during this month? What have I made my God? What have I made more important than my spiritual path? What have I looked at as being a distraction away from my holy higher self commitments? You know, right now, all these sacred paths are converging. We have Ramadan in progress. We're in Holy Week in Christianity. We have Passover that actually starts today. And we had the full moon that honors the earthbound religions. Actually tonight is the full moon. There's a prayer from the Islamic tradition that says, La ilaha illallah. And what that means is there is no God but God. There is no God but God. So every time I enter into a new month or a new day, could even be a new hour, a new moment, I can ask myself, what am I making more important than this sacred path, than this commitment, than this knowing that somewhere deep inside me, there's a light and a peace and a joy that I can bring out to others and share with others and commune with others without the other stuff that is blocking my awareness of who I really am and who you really are and who we can be together. So as long as I'm within this idea that I'm not worthy or that I am somehow dark, too dark for the light, then I will stunt my own growth. So this is what the lesson 93 tells us. Light and joy and peace abide in me. If you think you're the home of darkness, if you think that anyone who saw the truth about you would be repelled or recoil from you, if you think that what is true about you would be revealed and you would be struck with horror, then you are living with a belief system that has been fixed by something other than God's version of you, God's vision of you, God's idea of who you are. These are beliefs so firmly fixed that it's difficult to help you see that they are based on nothing. But you know what? We come to understand and believe that they're based on something that has created an inner vision of self that is not our higher holy self. And so part of our spiritual path, whatever path we take, is the movement toward that understanding that if we can deconstruct all the ego's constraints, then we will be able to lift those blinders, because it's as if they're blinders and we want to unwind from that vision to the true vision of who we are and who others are. If we can only know that light and truth and love and peace and all of that, the capability that you have to truly be a blessing in this world, if you could truly believe it and break through whatever constraints, whatever shame, whatever horror you have of yourself, then you will be able to see with such beautiful light of your own into the beautiful light of others. And when we are truly present to that, then there's the other stuff doesn't become such a distraction. I heard a story the other day. This guy was talking about how he was exploring a new city, and he was really just enjoying getting to know the city, getting to interact with people, getting to find out where to go, what to do. And at some point in one of his days, he had this hankering for some ice cream, which I totally can understand that. Like, how can I find some gelato? So somebody tells him where he can find some ice cream. He goes to the ice cream shop, he gets a delicious ice cream, and he's walking down the street and he's just enjoying his ice cream. Then some guy comes along and starts walking close to him. The guy's walking a dog, and the guy starts complaining, and he's complaining about the day, and he's complaining about the city, and he's complaining about the drivers. And this guy's just eating his ice cream. And he said, I was not going to allow his upset to disturb the immense joy I was having enjoying this ice cream. You know, walking along, and things were happening, and it's a noisy city, and cars are honking, and puddles are splashing, and there's all this stuff going on. And through it all, this complaining guy is making a point of pointing it all out to letting the other guy know what's going on. And the other guy's just enjoying his ice cream. He was just walking along, enjoying his ice cream, because you do not have to be disturbed by outside circumstances. You do not have to be taken away from whatever it is that's bringing you joy. And if you know for a fact that light and joy and peace abide in you, and you function from that place of light and joy and peace, then it's going to be a stronger foundation. There's a bird, I think it's a raven, that is propelled by storms, that is propelled, it gets stronger in the storm, in the hurricane, and it enjoys whatever it is that's under its wings, even if it's debris from the hurricane. It makes it stronger. And as we go along in our life, if we can see that whatever it is that seems to be tripping us up is actually an opportunity to be strong and to rise higher, to firmly, deeply believe in the fact that light and joy and peace abide in us, then we'll get to the place where we can just enjoy that moment. Enjoy that moment. And it doesn't mean that we have to lack discernment in any given situation. Because if light and joy and peace abides in me, then that must mean it abides in everyone else. It's just a matter to what capacity are we all accessing it. So earlier today, I was speaking with someone, and she was having a difficult time with an employee. She had a business that was her own, that she started from scratch, that she was building, that she considered very sacred. It was very important to her. And she had an employee that was in disagreement with her about a lot of things, arguing with her, giving her a hard time about how she was running her own business. And so she was wondering, how can I maintain this idea that light and joy and peace abide in me and in him if I want to fire him? So there's a difference. There's a difference between getting some understanding for things that may be a little bit uncomfortable for you. Right? Somebody comes to you with an idea that's contrary to your idea, and you think, well, let me see. Am I being hard-headed? Am I being stubborn? Let me open my mind. Let me be available to this information. It's kind of like a yoga pose, right? Your teacher tells you can get into the warrior position, and you're like, oh, I don't think I can. And then next thing you know, you can, and you're moving into that position, and you're going deeper, and you're seeing what the capability is within you to stretch further. It's the same thing with our egos. Where do we need to stretch? There's times when we do need to stretch. We need to let go. We need to open our minds and be available to other ideas and other ways of being. However, if it is harmful to the very thing you've birthed, so if you birth a child and you have a child, you're raising your child, and someone comes along to help you raise your child, you might have some different opinions about child rearing, but you might be open to hearing what might be best for the child. But if somebody comes along and beats your child and hurts your child, you can say, no, that's not okay. I'm not going to allow this to occur. So we have to have discernment. Peace and love and joy can abide in me, but I can love you from afar. I can make decisions that are for the highest good for everyone involved. And if that means letting somebody go, then that's what we're going to have to do. We want to live in a world where we have comfortable, joyful, peaceful interactions with each other. That doesn't mean there's not going to be tension at times, but again, We yoga pose through it. We stretch through it. We have loving conversations. We allow ourselves to hear. We allow ourselves to speak from a place of light and joy and peace. I heard this other story about this woman who was in an airport in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and her flight had been delayed. So she was just sort of hanging out and watching folks and seeing how other people were responding to the fact that there'd been a delay, and everybody was sort of grumpy. There was complaining, grumbling. And she heard on the loudspeaker an announcement that said, is there anyone in the area of this gate who speaks Arabic? And she said, I speak Arabic. She is first generation American, but her father speaks Arabic. And she learned quite a bit of Arabic, not fluent, but she said, let me see if I can help. So she goes over to the gate, and there's all these people kind of appalled and standing back from this woman who's very upset, but nobody knows what she wants or what she's doing or what she's saying because she's speaking in Arabic. Nobody understands her, and all her stuff is just sort of scattered around. So the woman who's telling the story goes to the gate, and the guy at the gate says, we don't know what's going on with her. She's just, she's really upset and she's saying stuff. We don't know what she's saying. So she went over to the woman, and it turned out that the woman thought her flight had been canceled. She didn't understand that it had just been delayed. So the lady who's telling the story explains to her that no, your flight hasn't been canceled. It's just been delayed. Let me help you make some calls, and we can see what we can arrange for you for the pickup on the other end and this and that. And then she called her father. Her father called the lady's son, spoke to him in Arabic. They spoke to each other. Then he called his daughter back, said everything's been arranged. She let the lady know. Everybody was working together like a team lady, team Arabic, team humanity, right? And just the idea that people came together to help her out. So then what happened was there was sort of like an expansion of this goodness, and the people who were sitting around were all sort of like starting to relax into this new information. Oh, it's like a paradigm shift. Okay, so you know what? Oh, okay, we get it now. She was upset because she thought her flight was canceled, but she's not upset anymore. And now we're not upset for her. Now we're happy for her. And all these people were just sort of like, oh, we're happy for her that she's happy and she's calm now. So it becomes infectious. Kindness becomes infectious. So she goes into one of her bags and she pulls out a bag of cookies. And these are cookies that are typical of wherever she lives. And they're made with sugar and dates and all kinds of good things in there. And then they have powdered sugar on the outside. I mean, who doesn't love powdered sugar on their cookies? So she starts giving everybody these cookies. And so the woman who's telling the story says, I'm looking around and there's all these adults with like powdered sugar on their face, and everybody's smiling and everybody's happy, and they're all looking at her and they're, so happy for her. And she just stops and she looks around at humanity and she says, this is the world I want to live in. This is the way I want to see every day of my life: kindness, caring, compassion, and joy, the simple joy of sharing cookies. And everyone being able to just relax into that knowing that we are connected. We are connected. We may not speak the same language. We may not be going to the same place, but we are connected. We're connected because light and peace and joy abides in us. It abides in me. It abides in you. If I can see it in myself, if I could only see it in myself, then I can see it in you. And then we can interact from that place of knowing of who we truly are. Read a little bit of this. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. The self you made is not what God created. Over and over, this must be repeated until it is accepted, because it's true. You just have to accept it. You just have to know it. Nothing can touch this. Nothing can change it. The self you made is not the self that God created. God created you to be of light and joy and peace. Salvation requires the acceptance of but this one thought: you are as God created you, not what you made of yourself. What does that mean? What does salvation mean? You are essential toward the plan of salvation. And salvation in this world just means the final knowing of your truth, the final connection that you can have with another brother, sister, mighty companion, kindred spirit. The salvation is the love, the kindness, the acceptance one to another. And when we talk about saving the world, we don't mean the whole world. We don't mean you have to go out and create some sort of miraculous peace in this illusionary madness. It's about what's right in front of you. Who's right in front of you? Can you save that? Can you save that situation? Can you save that person simply by an act of kindness, simply by words of caring, compassion? The world you save is your own world. The world you save is right here. What's right in front of you? What's in you? And if light and peace and joy abide in you and abide from you with your total knowing of its existence, then you will function from that place and you will be a savior. You will be a savior of the world because that's what you will give. That's what you will give of yourself. Light and joy and peace abide in you. Put away your foolish self-image and spend this time right now, right in this moment, trying to experience what God has given you in place of what you have decreed of yourself. Salvation requires the acceptance of but this one thought. You are as God created you. You are not what you made of yourself. Light and peace and joy abide in you. In you, for you, and for others. For the life you live, for the way you live, for the way you interact. Light and joy and peace abide in you. That's all for now. I'll see you next week. Maybe. I'm actually going away next week. But if I have an opportunity to find a way, then I'll make that way for you. God bless you.